Hey, everybody at home. I am going to show you all how to make a cup out of a slab of clay. So this is much bigger than what you need, but that's pretty much because I'm going to be making a couple of these things today for today's demonstration. I'm just going to make one. And what are you going to do with the old takeout food cup? An easy way to make a template is take a old cup, cut out the bottom, and then cut it right down the seam. And you have a template for a cup. Got a couple of them here, a couple different sizes. Okay. And if you're hand building these at home, I'm going to have you make two because, try something different with them, maybe a different size. If you have a small cup, you could always make a template that's a little bit larger just by making a line around this that's parallel to what you have on a small cup. So what I'm going to do is take my slab, and the slab is about 1/4 inch, and I am just going to outline it. I'm not cutting all the way through. I'm just going to outline because I'm going to want to decorate this thing. I am going to create some stamps for interest, holding down the edges of my template as I trace. And now, of course, I need a base, right? So once I have that traced out, I'm going to take my cup and I'm going to make it a circle again. And it's not going to be a perfect circle, so I'm going to cut it bigger than what I actually need. And go around. Again, I'm just outlining. And that's bigger than I need. But that is perfect. I wanted to make it bigger because this slab is going to sit on top of that. So it's going to work out great. In the end, I'm going to make something like this. Of course, this is wheel thrown, but this is called a tumbler. So it's not just a cup, it's a tumbler. So it's a little bit bigger than a cup. If you'll be surprised if you make your cup really, really tiny, you'll see if you choose to have it fired that it's going to shrink 10%. And sometimes that's disappointing to students. So I always try to encourage them to work a little larger and to take into consideration that shrinkage. So my cups, I make them so they're ergonomic. So they're actually very, very comfortable, more comfortable than what you can, what is made by a machine. Very comfortable to hold. And so I want to show you how I would make a hand-built cup. So got that all cut out. Now I have chosen a stamp. So you choose a stamp from what you have at home. I'm going to use this. How pretty is that? And I think that this stamp, even though this is a manufactured stamp, I think it would really complement my animal drawings that I do. Okay, so that's how I chose that. So I'm going to take a minute to decide where I would like this stamp, and I think I'm going to have it towards the bottom. Just like this, and press. And then I'm going to put this here and press. Keep in mind I've rolled out this slab and then I let it sit out here for about an hour. So you might want to do the same. I really like how this came out. It's really kind of subtle, but check it out. Really kind of pretty. So If I didn't like this, I could take my plastic rib and just rib it out. Of course, when I rolled this slab, I took my rib and I really pressed with my fingers and I really compressed this. Okay. So, looking good. Now what you're going to do is you are going to take your knife and you're going to cut these pieces out like this. This is going to go get set aside and I'm putting it in the middle of my banding wheel, just like that. Cut this all the way through. Just like that. If you want to work as I'm working, I took the rest of my slab, which is big enough for my second cup, and I put that aside so I can make my second cup. Now, stamp side, we want to see that decoration. So we're going to right away, you don't want to leave it for long, we're going to right away create a circular shape for this, just like this. And that's going to go right on top of here. Okay. Now, check this out. See how that's not really sitting well? So one of my favorite parts, you're going to overlap the two slabs this way. Overlap them. And this is really important. You're going to take your knife and you're going to cut it at an angle. And look what happens. You're going to cut straight down. You're going to want to watch this again while you're working. And then, see that? No seam. No bulky seam. It's like the best thing ever. Look at that. Now you can choose to either have a line show there, but there's no bump. You can have a line show there, or you can coil both sides and not. But either way, no matter what, next thing you're going to do is scratch and attach. If you don't do that, you're going to have major problems. So, take your old comb or serrated edge tool, scratch that whole thing. just like that. And then the other side. So what I did with this slab is I rolled it out a couple hours before I was actually going to use it. If you're in the classroom and you want to hand build instead of throw, then this is kind of like your downtime. But there's a lot less learning curve with this than throwing. But the thing is, the timing has to be perfect. So, you're in here for an hour, and what you would want to do is roll out your slab, put it on a board, wrap it in plastic, put a damp paper towel on it, and then do this part either at home or the next class period would be perfect. Then, just preparing what we're doing here, you're going to take this. I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit thinner. Get a little softer, and you don't want to add any water to the slab once you're building with it. Okay. Put it back on there. Now I'm going to scratch this whole edge. I love using my comb. I'm going to go get my comb. Here is my comb. So I'm combing out my edge here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here. So you want to make sure this is all ready to slip. Look at how scratched that is. I really scratched that really, really well. I'm going to take one of my paintbrushes and my slip, get it on here. Even use my finger. It's like you can't use too much of this stuff, really. Can you use too little? Absolutely. It's like that. But you know what? This is pretty relaxing. Just like this. And then like this. Put a lot of slip on there. I'm so excited. I'm starting to think about how else I want to decorate the outside of this. I might have to paint a snake on it or something. Along with the leaves. Okay. You could do the same thing. Imagine if you had like your favorite sports team. So cool. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and squeeze. I'm squeezing that seam together. Squishes around a little bit, but it's kind of fun to hold. Okay. Then I'm going to put it right on there. Push that seam together. And check this out. Really squeeze that. Okay. Take a little coil, roll a snake for the bottom. How'd you make it out?
Good, I just finished.
Wow, that's amazing. You're so fast.
Where should I put them?
You could leave them right on your desk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Have a good rest of your day, Dave. Okay. And then got this coil. See what I'm doing? And then I'm taking my finger and I'm pressing it in that seam. It's like this. And then the inside. Pressing down. As I go around, press down. So, time consuming, is it? Well, it is a little bit. Depends where your passion is, because it also is very time consuming to learn how to throw on a potter's wheel. Just making sure that that seam goes away. Just like this. Hi. Okay, gonna get that cylinder back in the center. Cut the extra off. And I can think about, like, what do I want to do with this foot? Sometimes I like to do some fancy things with my feet. This is that tumbler that I showed you earlier. This is what the foot looks like. It's got my name on it. One thing I love about ceramics, I get a million things to do, and it just makes me forget about everything that I got to do. You could put a stamp across that seam if you want. Either way, it has to be a clean seam. So you don't want to leave it like that. Look at how bumpy and horrible that looks. So you want to take your plastic rib, or you can use a metal rib. Really clean it up. Make it go away. Make that seam go away. And then continue. Then, I love this. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to fix the inside. Smear that inside. Make another coil. You're going to have to coil right up that seam. See what that looks like? I like to use the back of my knife to kind of push it on. Push it into that seam. So for hand building, how long would it take to make one mug? Well, it's going to take, we're going to work on these for 2 weeks. So I would plan for 2 class periods per mug, or I'm saying mug, per tumbler. Make sure that there's no seams down there. If you can't reach, take the blunt end of your tool and push it outward. I'm pushing it in this direction, outward like this, smearing that inside edge. Okay, now, next step, very important, is the lip. You're gonna pinch it outward. It's like this. Look at this beautiful lip. So comfortable. See how this is outward like this? So comfortable to drink out of. You're gonna love this cup. So you're gonna turn it and pinch, pinch, pinch. Sometimes where you have the seam, it raises a little bit. What you can do is just, there's my seam edge. You can just cut that off so it's nice and even. You can also take a ruler and check the height, but it's handmade, right? And then compress, compress, compress. inside and the outside of, this is called the lip. The lip touches your lip. You want it to really feel good when you're drinking. And I'm pressing underneath, and I'm pulling out that lip a little bit. I'm pulling it out a little bit. But I'm not stressing it so much that it's going to like crack and cause issues. Just like this. Going around and around and around and around. Then you're going to grab your wet sponge and give me a moment while I wet my sponge. And you're going to sponge that lip on the inside. Gently turn, sponge it on the inside. This is so relaxing. Just like this. And on the outside. And the thing is, you want it to be rounded. So mine isn't rounded yet, so I am going to dry off my hands and continue to pinch. Think about how this is going to feel when you're drinking out of it. I'm just using my finger and rubbing it at an angle. Then I'm going to do the same to the inside. There we go. So nice. Now, this is what I have so far. And it's kind of a boring shape. I think I'm going to make it into a square, so it's a little bit more interesting. But I'm not going to make it into a square by, and you don't have to do this, but I am going to make it a square by running my finger up the inside, and it's not going to be on the seam. So I have to be aware of where my seam is. And then I'm going to do it here and here. Ready? So here we go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. A little wider. There we go.